a punching bag we haven't actually discussed for a while: the
Yeah.
American comic book industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
So, this was kind of breaking news that happened to dovetail into something we were already going to talk about. You do get lucky sometimes.
Yes.
I think it was literally announced like a couple hours before the podcast started. So,
Yeah.
IDW has been delisted from the New York Stock Exchange and has cut its workforce as it attempts to rebound. 39%.
Oof. Jeez.
The company has been losing money for months, and while it opened at 82 cents a share, it plunged once news came out to 47 cents.
Wow.
Now, I would forgive people for going, the hell's an IDW?
Yeah.
IDW is a comic book company that started off as kind of a boutique artsy type thing. I think it, I don't know if it focused on creator owned or if it, I think it did, like it was like, it was like an indie darling.
Yeah.
And then at some point, they started chasing the easy money of licenses, particularly with Hasbro.
Yeah. And yeah, Hasbro and Paramount. Yeah.
Oh, what did they have from Paramount?
It's Star Trek.
Oh, that's right. They had Ghostbusters, so they guess they went after Sony too.
Yeah.
The, the
Yeah,
pr-
they had and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
oh, that's right. That's the other big one.
Yeah.
So they were going around. The problem with being a licensor in comics is actually licensee. Licensee. They're a licensee in
Yeah.
comics.
Yeah.
Um, the problem with being a licensee in comics is that it isn't a huge business. So, if speaking of comics being hard, if you're selling them for $3.99 an issue, uh, and your circulation is in like the tens of thousands, like low tens of thousands,
Yeah.
comic books are expensive to produce, and then your licensor, aka Hasbro or actually Comcast in the case of Ninja Turtles,
Mhm.
etc. You're kind of you don't really have a lot of margin to eat up that fees, and how the fees work are deal by deal. Sometimes it's just a flat fee. Sometimes it's a per issue license. But
Yeah.
let's run some quick numbers here.
All right.
So let's assume that I think I've heard roughly that depending on, of course, this depends on print run size because, of course, the smaller the print run, the more expensive it is per book.
Right.
But I think a generally decent rule of thumb is that you have half the fees are like production.
Mhm.
Let's let's just go for that. So
Yeah.
so you have $20,000 if you're selling 10,000 copies at $4 an issue, but half of it is expenses.
Mhm.
Um, if you then have Hasbro theoretically taking another 10,000 off, that's not a lot of money left over to play with.
Yeah.
Now, if you had just one creator who is doing the writing, art, lettering, etc., that'd be a pretty good gig.
Yeah.
12 issues at $10,000 an issue, that's a really nice salary.
Yeah.
Thing is, nobody's getting that.
Yeah.
So you're talking even 20,000 divided between editor, writer, penciler, possibly an inker,
Mhm.
colorist, letterer, and all the other associated behind the scenes jobs. That doesn't go very far. Also,
No,
hey,
it doesn't.
Chris.
Yeah. Hey, Chinggis.
So IDW seems to realize the issue they were having, and so
Mhm.
they had pushed into making streaming shows and things for sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah. What wasn't that show you were watching? Alien,
Resident Alien?
Resident Alien. Yeah, was that IDW or is that?
That was Dark Horse.
Oh, it's Dark Horse. Okay.
Um, but yeah, the difference is that Resident Alien was actually successful.
Yeah, yeah.
So IDW, their shows that have been on Netflix and other places were Lock and Key, which is like their one franchise that people who are into comics actually know about. Their one creator, like their one actually in-house license.
Yeah. Yeah, Chinggis.
Yeah,
IDW is making
yeah,
shit.
they were taking loans to make streaming shows. Uh, I think that like they with Lock and Key, I heard that they kind of got screwed by Netflix,
Uh,
uh, just a tad. Let's see here. Lock and Key, I know about. Winona Earp for Sci-Fi.
oh god, that show is awful.
I have never, I never looked into it. Um,
Yeah.
I think they also early on had a big success because they made the comic of that movie 30 Days of Nights about the vampires in Alaska.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that I've heard from a lot of people that that's a pretty good movie. Yeah.
So they haven't had no success. It's just that they haven't had enough to make up for. Well, I should say they borrowed. Or they had a business that made millions, uh, and they borrowed 10x millions for to chase movies,
Mm.
or they borrowed other millions to make movies and TV shows. Um, this has not proven to be a winning strategy.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, looking at these comics back here in the background, I only know of some of these because of YouTube reviews.
uh, yeah, I only know of like maybe one or two of them.
Yeah, but yeah. So Davide Jonas, the son of the principal IDW owner Howard Jonas, will replace Alan Grafman as CEO. Man, when you have to get into nepotism to let's see,
Yeah.
CFO Brooke Feinstein is out of the position. They've also had like a real revolving door with their leadership in recent years.
Yeah.
The other thing is that they lost their major comic book licenses. The only one I think that let's see here, recent successes has mostly been through the Top Shelf imprint with releases like They Call This Enemy and the Perennial Seller March. They Call This Enemy was George Takei's book about Japanese internment.
Uh,
So that's one that you can sell in the broader channels.
okay.
Wonder, like, libraries might want it and things like that, just because that is educational-ish.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, they're heavily reducing things, and yeah, you can see the stock price.
Oh man.
That is
How,
just a cliff drive.
yeah. How they're even still even going is a mystery. Somebody's got to be propping them up, I guess.
Yeah, my best guess is that they have some sort of investors who have been following the sunk money fallacy,
Uh,
or sunk cost fallacy, I should say.
yeah.
Yes,
Chinggis said he read Takei's book for
well,
class.
you did your part to help prop up IDW then.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cheng.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, okay. So I'm not the most knowledgeable about this, but it's like once you're delisted from the New York Stock Exchange, you can still buy and sell the stocks. It just becomes more challenging, and you're now into like penny stock territory.
Yeah.
So that's going to it's going to divide or drive down the price just because now people have to go through extra steps to trade in you.
Yeah. Man.
But the original story is Chuck Dixon, in a related thing, went on the Clifton Duncan podcast, and Clifton Duncan is an interesting guy. He's kind of you ever heard like the term intellectual dark web?
Yes.
Yeah, he's kind of a up and comer in that, I would say.
Okay.
Um, he had Chuck Dixon on, and Chuck's Chuck shared, among other things, in addition to Chuck, Chuck Dixon. If there's a channel that you're interested in and somebody interviews him, it's always worth a look,
Yeah.
just because he's an interesting guy who's lived an interesting life.
Yeah. Yes, he has. Yeah.
But his theory is one that I've actually heard many in Comicsgate say over the years, which is that the people who are being hired, um, um, people are being hired who see comic books as a stepping stone to where they want to be.
Mm,
Where it's like, hey, here's a thing we can have on our resume.
yeah. Yeah. It's a step from up to like Hollywood screenwriter.
Yeah, or it's like, oh, I want to, I'll do something for the New Yorker, and you even have some people kind of going the opposite way, like Ta-Nehisi Coates writing for Black Panther all those years in Captain
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
What's funny is that it sounds like he actually wanted to write Spider-Man, but they basically told him, "Nah, you're kind of known for black stuff, so you can write Black Panther."
Yeah.
That isn't racist.
Oh yeah.
It's yeah. So hopefully there are people like you and Miss Rena who are passionate about what they do,
Yeah.
who actually you. While I don't think you would complain if Netflix wanted to give you a cash settlement for or a cash payment to license your show.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Uh,
yeah, I would definitely give it some serious thought now.
but it's you can't have people more interested in chasing the movie and streaming money than the actual comics themselves.
Yeah. Chinggis said they wouldn't let Coates write even write Miles. Probably not.
That's a good question. Uh, what I just heard was that he was interested in writing Spider-Man, which I presume means Peter Parker, but
Yeah.
because that was probably what he actually read as a kid.
Yeah, and of course, he said, "Well, we want you to write for Miles Morales." Who?
And but yeah, so was it Aftershock Comics declared bankruptcy in January or so. One of those
Yeah.
one of those many indie publishers who called themselves something that starts with an A. You want to know why they did that?
uh,
So that they would appear first in the Diamond Comics catalog. Because the theory always was is that if by the time somebody gets down to like Xylophone Comics, they've basically already picked out what they're going to buy.
yes. uh, well, it makes me glad that I did Centennial Comics.
Yes, you're not going to blend in with all the other A comics, but
Yeah, yeah,
you're high enough up there that if somebody's just going through alphabetically, then
yeah.
you have more of a chance.
Yes.
But we often to say that we're here to kind of just see what kind of entertainment we have to look forward to. Um, Probably not IDW for much longer.
No. Yeah, I would be surprised if they make it till the end of the year.
Although yeah, I think they tilted it just flat out no profit some years ago, and
Mm.
they've just been borrowing money and trying to like double down on their various bets since then.
Oh, jeez, man.
I think the lesson you learn is that just because Marvel Comics and DC Comics make money doesn't mean that all comic books are equally valid as far as rootstock for entertainment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, Speaking of valid rootstock for entertainment, Shigeru